Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Bobby DeBow was the guy who had the record? Bobby DeBow, am I saying that right?
Yeah, you got his name right. He's a BC Lions fan, lives out in Vancouver, and he has been fantastic in support. He'll always be the first. He'll be the one that sort of created the record. And if I beat him, then great. If we get the record, there's going to be other fans that try to beat it in the future and in future years, and that's okay too. We just want the legacy of really what the cause has become on this to carry on in the future.
But the quote I saw from him, I don't know the guy, but I laughed. He's like, he goes, Chris at least has put it towards a good cause. He goes, I was just an idiot trying to set a record, which I think is hilarious. So why did you pick CFL Fans Fight Cancer as the benefactor of this? I'm assuming you have a connection to it.
Absolutely. So I've been fortunate enough, like you, Rod, to see many Grey Cups. This will be my 28th in Vancouver this year. And the CFL Fans Fight Cancer is just a grassroots effort by CFL fans. There's no corporate sponsorship. The CFL sort of does their own thing. But these are the fans that come together. And depending on the host city, a group in that city decides which charity they're going to choose. And each year, it's just fans donating and doing barbecues and trivia concerts and raising money any way they can. And it's a small drop in the proverbial bucket, but it really gives fans and people something that they can feel a part of.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
He lives in the Calgary area. He's like, Roddy, get your pads on. Mercer's back's bad. I'm like, okay. But I always had it in the back of the trunk of my car. And Nabokov lined up 10 pucks. He goes, you, me, 10 shots, 10 goals. How many do you think he scored on me? The Siberian Sniper, first round pick of the Chicago Blackhawks. How many do you think he scored? 8. 5. Come on.
Whoa. This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Hi, everybody. Coming in hot on a Wednesday. Holy smokes, what a day. It's a scorcher across the land. And I don't know. This is either a good news, bad things for you, depending on your perspective. It's just me for most of the show today. Moose is off in a way. He's on his way to Calgary, working with Golf Canada and the CKPG Women's Open out there. But you know what? I don't think that we need him. Don't tell him. We got so much stuff going on. And it's like scandalous stuff today. Breaking news. This is, I said to the boys in the morning meeting today, this is exactly why I love daytime sports talk, because nobody else is talking about it. Not the way that we will. We're live on Game Plus Television, Key Radio in Atlanta. We are Canada's daytime sports talk show, but we are also Atlanta's NHL show. And we're live on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify. The guests today are Tim Hunter, Calgary Flames and Atlanta Flames great, and Mike Wilner from the Deep Left Field podcast talking a little Blue Jays baseball. Before I get into Hit the Show Horn, I just want to say this. For those that are watching on streaming, the boys do a nice little pre-roll ahead of time. I don't know who it is, Jordan or Clark or whomever at IKS, and it's like going to the movies. It's like a pre-show for if you're watching on streaming. And it was a clip from yesterday's show. Chris Tomafachuk, who's raising money for CFL Fights Cancer. It's a funny little moment here. He was on talking about his fundraiser, trying to set a Guinness Book of World Records record for the most CFL games watched in the shortest amount of time, raising money for CFL Fans Fight Cancer in the process. Trying to beat the record set by Bobby DeBow. Get this one. Bobby DeBow, a BC Lions fan, lives out in the Vancouver area. He comes home yesterday, turns his television on, Game Plus TV, of course, because what else are you going to watch? And here's two jabronis talking about him. He just happened to turn it on, and we're talking about him. Can you imagine? So, yeah, making miracles happen. Yeah, making miracles happen, bringing the world together. That's what we do. And I'm really going to try to do that over the next 2 hours with you, with also Tim Hunter and Mike Wilner. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please? So, look, we got breaking news today, and we've tried to get our Edmonton guys on the air today, but we were unable to do that. Kevin Carey is from Sports 1440 Radio, is on the air right now and unavailable to talk about this, and Bryn Griffiths, Mighty Mouth, I think is heading to the news conference at Rogers Place. He's not available. Here is the breaking news on this Wednesday, which, by the way, we have three huge, I think huge, breaking news items to get to today on live sports talk television, Game Plus, and Radio Key Radio. Number one, the Edmonton Oilers have hired Stan Bowman as the team's general manager and vice president of hockey operations. This came down today. The 51-year-old becomes the 11th GM in franchise history after 20 seasons with the Chicago Blackhawks, including 12 years as general manager. He replaces Ken Holland. Bowman stepped aside from his duties in Chicago in October 2021 and was subsequently banned by the NHL along with longtime coach Joel Quenneville and Blackhawks executive Al McIsaac after an independent investigation into how they handled a sexual assault allegation in 2010. Former Blackhawks player Kyle Beach alleged he was assaulted by Chicago video coach Brad Aldridge during the team's Stanley Cup championship season and that the team mishandled the situation. All three were banned from management and coaching positions in the NHL until Commissioner Gary Bettman reinstated them July 1st, 23 days ago. So I got a lot of thoughts on this. This is why I said it's good news, bad news. If you like me, you're going to love it. If you don't like me, you're going to hate it. But it's a lot of me and you. I want the viewer and listener participation here more than ever. You can be part of the show more than ever because Moose isn't here. 902-518-3033. You're just going to have to bear with me because I'm going to dip into the text comments, going to dip into the streaming comments. But before I do all of that, I'm going to give you my opinion. Very first thing I heard when I saw that the Oilers made it official today, and by the way, no insiders broke this. The Oilers announced it on their own. That's pretty rare these days. Probably no insiders wanted to touch it because it's a highly delicate situation given what I just read. The first thing I thought was it doesn't matter who the GM is as long as Jeff Jackson's going to run the team. So there's that, because I believe that's what was happening, and that's why Ken Holland left. As a matter of fact, the Canadian Press Wire story said Ken Holland left the team after his contract wasn't renewed. But as I got word from the Holland camp, it was Ken Holland's decision to leave the Oilers, not the Oilers. I'm just putting that out there from his side. And part of the reason was, sounds like he lost the power struggle with Jeff Jackson. So now Stan Bowman's going in there to be the next general manager. But he's not, I want to make it clear, I don't think he's going to be a puppet. And I'm getting to where people are raging over this because there's a lot of people that think he shouldn't be working in hockey ever again. By the way, they're wrong. And don't come at me with it. Go after Gary Bettman if you want. McIsaac, Quenneville, Bowman all served a 3-year suspension. 3-year suspension! Think of it. Say it out loud. And I'm seeing some really good friends of mine commenting out on social media today. Sean Simpson, the former Washington Capitals goaltender prospect and front office guy, he says, why hire Stan Bowman at all? Jeff Jackson's doing great. There's that school of thought, and I love Simmer. But then there's Matthew Barnaby saying this is a great move because Stan Bowman is a great general manager, and he's a great guy. And this is where Barney and I really align on this. Aldridge is the creep, not Bowman. So stand down. And then furthermore, I thought about this. Having seen very closely up front the operations of the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, even though I don't think Stan Bowman's actually going to have say in what goes on there, I believe it is Jeff Jackson, who's the president, right? I don't even know because these titles mean nothing. And I'll give you an example. My whole point on this is 2 heads, 3 heads, 4 heads are better than 1. Les Jackson, who just had the Stanley Cup down in Weyburn on Monday of this week, was the longtime assistant GM and then assistant coach and then assistant general manager of the Minnesota North Stars, later to become the Dallas Stars. He was my dad's boss for like 20 years and gave him a lifetime contract. And I said to Les, how does a guy get a contract like that? And he goes, you're not your dad. I know that. Les is now the Florida Panthers. So I saw him around Sunrise all the time. I saw him on the road in Tampa. And I said to Les, what is your job here? He goes, senior advisor. They're calling me the senior advisor to the general manager. But I live in Texas, so we call it senior advisor.
How about
If
that?
you know less. If you know less, you'd get it. From Manning, Alberta. But the point is, they just make up rules. But if you have good hockey minds and people you trust, because here's the I said to Les, what exactly are you doing? I see you roaming around the team, but what are you doing? And he goes, I'm just here as a resource, because Les has been through the wars. He was with the Atlanta Thrashers, with the Stars for a long time. He goes, if the coaches need something, if the scouts need something, if Bill Zito wants to bounce something off me, I'm there, and I offer it. And by the way, who won the Stanley Cup? Oh, yeah, the Florida Panthers. So all I'll say is Stan Bowman served his penance. He's not the guilty party. This creep Aldrich was. Get off his back. I am not having it with the cancel culture today, and we'll never again, which actually is going to dovetail into our next point in a second here. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, I'm not knowledgeable enough about NHL hockey to know if it's a good move or not. Yeah, so listen to me, so you'll know, because I am. Scott White, watching in Vancouver, said, is Holland still in the organization as president or something? No, he's gone. Ken Holland's gone, which created room for this job. Stan Bowman's filling it. Ken Holland, the last I heard, is at his cabin in Penticton, Vernon area, plotting his next move. What I heard was he had opportunities in Columbus, Chicago. There was a third, or he might just retire. And where I get really annoyed and tired about all this is the people that say, the people that actually think they know but don't. Yeah, but Rod, the Blue Jackets have a GM. They just hired Don Waddell. Oh, the Blackhawks have a general manager, Kyle Davis. Were you not listening to what I was just saying? If the more hockey minds, the better. They'll make up a title and bring somebody in. So Ken Holland is deliberating on his next move, the last that I heard. So anyways, the poll question is this, and let me just call up the latest result. Should Stan Bowman be allowed to work in the NHL again? Your options are yes, no, and undecided. Take a wild guess what's winning. 47% saying no, he should never be allowed to work ever again in the National Hockey League. Thank God they're not in charge. 38% say yes, he should, and 15% say they're undecided. I think they're like Wayne and Victoria, BC, that they just don't know enough about it. But listen, it's not like certain people that were around this franchise. I am right in the freaking hotbed of junior hockey and scandal. It was just in Swift Current last week, and we talked about all that franchise has been through. The 4 Broncos incident, the Graham James incident. And with the Graham James incident, there were guys that got off scot-free and were never punished at all, and they knew what was going on. Bowman lost his job, was suspended for 3 years. Joel Quenneville, basically the same thing. They've paid their penance. Here, a lot of us got a lot bigger issues than the fact that a lot of guys got off scot-free here. Those guys did not get off scot-free, and they weren't even the guilty party. My God. And the thing is, I've handled so many things poorly in my life, too. How do you know? Anyways, I'm ready to move on. That's my thoughts on this. That's 11 minutes on our first opening topic, by the way. Start spreading the news. We're live on the air on Game Plus Television, Key Radio, and streaming. No Moose today. It's just you and me. Now, this is where things get real interesting for me. Here's the second scandal of the day. Canadian women's soccer coach Bev Priestman removed herself from Thursday's Olympic Games opener against New Zealand, and 2 team staff members were sent home after 2 drone incidents. Assistant coach Jasmine Mander and Canada soccer analyst Joseph Lombardi were ousted from the team's soccer staff, the Canadian Olympic Committee said today in a statement in which it accepted Priestman's decision to not coach the opener in Saint-Étienne, France. The shakeup came after the COC's review of a drone incident in Saint-Étienne. There were reports that drones flew over New Zealand's practice sessions both Monday and last Friday. Here's what I'm going to say about that. If you're going to spy on the other team, be good at it. Don't get caught.
Bingo.
I got a million thoughts on this. I was revved up and ready to go just on this. And then the Bowman thing drops. Bev Priestman, look, the darlings of the Canadian media, and the underprivileged soccer program, and listen, I'm obviously not a soccer guy. I was getting kind of tired of hearing it, but you know what? They did win gold the last Summer Olympics, right? They're the reigning gold medal champions. So I'm going, they got caught cheating. You going to cancel them? Where's the cancel culture crowd on this? Where are we? And everything that I thought would happen did. I was out for quite a long jaunt this morning. Run, walk. And I was listening to Dan Patrick on the radio, the peerless Dan Patrick, and he and his cronies, Dan and the Danettes, were quite frankly laughing at Canada, making fun of Canada with two things. The very predictory things they were saying. Number one, we thought Canada was nice and polite. What are they doing? Cheating at the Olympics, number one. And number two, wait a minute. Wasn't she the coach at the last Olympics? Wait a minute. Didn't they win the gold? So now, thanks to this, because you're cheating, you got caught, the games haven't even started yet, you're not even good at it, and now it's called into question your last championship at the last Olympic. What are we going to do about it? I'll tell you what, it's embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for me as a Canadian on Canadian sports talk television to have to sit here and go, oh my God, our country's been embarrassed. We were caught cheating at the Olympics. The biggest stage, she's going to not coach the first two games. I'm going to tell you something. If I wasn't guilty of something, no GD way would I take any culpability for it. There's no way. Oh, I didn't know that my staff was sending drones over the practice to film them or watch what they were doing. Not only did she know, my guess and strong thought is that she must have been behind it. Come on. There's no way she wouldn't know. Now, having said all of that, I've had a lot of friends that have competed in the Olympics, coached in the Olympics, officiated in the Olympics, and they've all told me, and they'll remain nameless, but it's the dirtiest business of them all in sport is the Olympics. So I guess the point is, the saying is, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So am I surprised? Absolutely not. Where I'm going in all this is, it's the soccer program. And even better yet, it's the women's soccer program. Where's the cancel culture on that? All those that took down all the Hockey Canada types and all those that ruined careers. Where are you on this? Can you please bring it? I want to know. Because I've had people writing me going, well, because they've been so aggrieved, this women's program, they'll get a pass. They'll get a pass now because they've had it crappy for so long. Wait a minute, I thought they wanted equality. So if you've been caught cheating, you should get what everybody else gets. That's just what I think. That's 2 points, and I got way more. We'll be back. Who needs the moose? 902-518-3033. We're live on Game Plus Television, Key Radio, and streaming Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/h.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Felt like that was the fastest 16-minute opening segment ever. By the way, make your birthday unforgettable at the Golden Ticket Sports Center here in Moose Jaw. Book your birthday party with us for a fun-filled celebration packed with sports, games, and endless excitement. Visit GoldenTicketSportsCenter.com. And also, we're brought to you in part by Saskatoon's Battle for Recovery. Join award-winning recovery speakers like singer Shaylin Fox, podcaster Daniel Hearn, Dr. Wendy Gore-Hickman, and Hall of Fame broadcaster and sober coach Rod Pedersen at TCU Place in Saskatoon as we celebrate recovery and share experiences from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Friday, August 30th. For tickets, go to empowertorecover.com. That's the number 2, empowertorecover.com. We'll delve back into the hot topics in a moment, but there's a lot of things coming out of the Olympics, and I thought this was odd timing. Salt Lake City will be an Olympic host again after the IOC formally awarded the 2034 Winter Games to the United States bid. The capital city of Utah was the only candidate after the IOC gave Salt Lake City exclusive negotiating rights last year in a fast-track contest for 2034. Salt Lake City's final approval was in a vote today by IOC members. Salt Lake City hosted the Winter Games back in 2002. Tight security surrounded those Olympics, which was the biggest international sports event in the U.S. following the September 11th attacks 5 months earlier. I got to say this about Salt Lake City, and I don't know if Utah Darren is watching or not. I would be willing to make an apology on that. I've never been there other than the airport. But all I'm hearing about is Salt Lake City now. They're getting the NHL team. They're getting the Olympics again. Now I know all these people that are moving there. I'm not joking. People that you would, from Western Canada, oh, my parents are moving to Salt Lake City. Why? Apparently, it's a thing to do now is to go to Salt Lake City. I'm not jumping in line to do that, but you do you. Brandon Lowe hit a 2-run home run, and the Tampa Bay Rays won for the 4th time in 5 games by beating the Blue Jays 4-2. But who doesn't? Toronto's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit his 17th home run, but Toronto lost for the 5th time in 7 games. Jays starter Jose Barrios tied a career high with 6 walks. Meanwhile, Angels star Mike Trout lasted just 2 innings of his first rehab stint in the minors due to soreness in his surgically repaired left knee. The 3-time MVP struck out in his only at-bat for the AAA Salt Lake during his first rehab appearance since tearing the meniscus in his left knee in late April. The Angels say he's day-to-day. Also, WCBL last night. Huge win for our Moose Jaw Millers in Swift Current. Sorry, 57s fans, but we needed that one. Moose Jaw beat Swift Current 13-8. Pretty much posted a wire-to-wire win because the 57s were breathing down our neck for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Division. The Regina Red Sox won at Medicine Hat 12-8. Brooks beat Sylvan Lake 9-3, and Okotoks down Weyburn 8-5. I'll give you a quick CFL note. The Montreal Alouettes. Let me rattle through the rest of the topics, and then we'll come back on the juicy ones. The Montreal Alouettes have placed starting quarterback Cody Fajardo on the 6-game injured list ahead of their meeting with the Saskatchewan Roughriders on Thursday. Last year's Grey Cup MVP, Fajardo, did not practice this week after tweaking his hamstring at the end of the first quarter in the Argos' loss. Their loss to the Argos on July 11th. Caleb Evans will take Fajardo's place starting under center. Al's won twice with Evans starting last season. Cody 4th in CFL passing yards and touchdowns. Montreal leads the East at 5-1. Saskatchewan also 5-1 and will lean on backup Shea Pedersen for a 4th straight game with starter Trevor Harris on the injured list. So let's just back off this for a second, because you immediately think, oh, Fajardo's not playing, Riders will roll. The football people will tell you that Alouettes defense under Noel Thorpe is probably the best defense in the Canadian Football League. It's in Montreal, which is traditionally a very hostile environment and hard for the Riders or anybody to win in as the road team. So we haven't made our picks yet. We'll probably do it tomorrow. But when you're picking, remember, again, this is backup versus backup, and that's highly unfortunate because you want to see the oh, man, Cody Fajardo versus Trevor Harris would have been awesome. That sucked. But I think the game will be great. And the 6th and final point is an 18-game NFL season seems inevitable. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has already stated he favors expanding the regular season by another game. Now, NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell says the Players Union is open to an agreement before the current labor deal expires after the 2030 season. It's going to take a lot of convincing to get most of the league's players on board with another game, but the NFL usually gets what the NFL wants. The league persuaded the union to allow a 17th game in the last round of CBA discussions, and the schedule was expanded in 2021. So I just wanted to throw all those topics out there and then come back on the big ones. If you just tuned in, Stan Bowman is the new general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, the 12th GM in Oilers history. I'm saying it's a great move. I don't expect universal support with that. But if you're saying because of his role in the mishandling of the Blackhawks sexual abuse scandal, then we can't be friends. So let me see what they're saying in here. Number 1, John Ohm in Winnipeg writes in, I do love the leftovers from yesterday's show. I always do. Rod, you asked me at the end of yesterday's show what my favorite moment at the rink was. Well, that's a work in progress. I meant the Winnipeg Arena. I am not even from Winnipeg, and I have a favorite moment from the Winnipeg Arena. It was the 1998 World Juniors with Roberto Luongo in goal for Team Canada, Kyle Calder on Team Canada. Loudest facility I've ever been in my life. You got to have some good memory, John, from the Winnipeg Arena. Regarding the outgoing Ken Holland in Edmonton, Scott White says Ken Holland was awesome in Detroit, too. I don't get it. He's only 68. Listen, money is not a factor for Ken Holland nor a lot of these guys. And I don't want to say ego, other than a lot of guys would like to paint their own legacy when they leave. And that's why it was important, I think, from the Ken Holland family camp to get the word to me to pass along to you that it wasn't the Oilers' decision that Ken Holland leave, it was Ken's. So there's that. To reiterate, if you just tuned in what I was talking about earlier, 2, 3, 4 heads are better than one. I don't think Stan Bowman's going to have any authority with the Oilers because it sounds like Jeff Jackson's running it all up there. And by the way, doing a good enough job since Holland left. Hasn't even been a month yet, but he did a pretty good job in free agency, it appears, getting a check mark from everybody. So having a good hockey man on board can't be a bad thing. To the text line, 902-518-3033. Ryan in Regina writes, and he says, Aldridge is the creep, not Stan Bowman. He knew what was going on and did nothing. Even allowed Aldridge to stay on and have a day with the cup after they won. How are you okay with that? I wrote him back. Said he lost his job and served a 3-year suspension. Weren't you listening? Ryan says, unreal, Rod. He still enabled it. He knew what was going on and did absolutely nothing. Pretty simple to know what to do when a coach is sexually assaulting a player. You don't reward that coach with a bonus and a day with a Stanley Cup and allow him to resign on his own, or allow him to resign on his own. Listen, I gave my opinion. You gave yours. We're not coming to a meeting here. Maybe you want to send that to Gary Bettman, because he's the one that reinstated Stan Bowman and said he's eligible to come back and work to the National Hockey League. The Oilers, Daryl Cates, the owner, the president, Jeff Jackson, don't have a problem, Ryan. Why do you? Why do you so much? I'm giving my opinion. If you can't accept it, we'll have to agree to disagree. Jim in Balgoni writes, and he says, not only is it hot outside, but Roddy is bringing the heat inside today. On point. You go. Spicy. Thank you, Jim.
Spicy.
Kerkin Tirana writes, and he says, hi, Rod. Salt Lake City beats the oppressive heat of Florida. Cool, clean mountain air for the win. Oh, yeah. I guess my point is I'm not pro Salt Lake City, but it would be unfair of me to be anti-Salt Lake City because I've never really been there nor given it a chance. Talking to Serena this morning, she said it's disgustingly hot in Florida. She wasn't complaining. She was just saying that. Like, here's the thing. I'm getting text messages from my guy Chris from the Bronx. You're probably watching right now. He was at the Marlins game last night, sitting alone in the outfield on Veterans Night because he's a Navy veteran. He goes, I had a free seat for you, but you're not here. I said, well, I hope they're still doing those veteran nights when I come back in September. He says, yes, we're going to go watch the Nationals together. He's texting me. Johnny O from Johnny O's Gymnasium's texting me with NHL trivia, which he always does. I got Brent from Florida texting me, Brent Waltman, the Panthers fan. I said to Serena, pretty clear where my home is. So I'll be looking forward to getting back down there when summer is over. But we got a big playoff run to go on here with the Moose Jaw Millers before all is said and done. John in Winnipeg writes in, John Ohm, why do you need to cheat? Way to go, women's soccer. That coach needs to get the boot from the games. Embarrassing to Canadian fans. Well, hey, that's how I see it. I want to know what the cancel culture is saying about Bev Priestman, the coach of the women's soccer. Come on. Oh, our staff did it. Oh, she just throw them under the bus. I don't have any inside knowledge. It doesn't look. I'll step down for 2 games, okay, because out of integrity, I won't coach. I had no idea that my staff was sending drones over. As we say in the recovery world, play the tape to the end. So you guys collect the footage from the New Zealand team, the staff. You write it down in a scouting report. Oh, hey, coach, we're going to play New Zealand coming up. Here's everything they were doing in practice. Here's their personnel. Here's their formations. Here's what they do. Coach would say, where did you get this information? We sent drones over their practice and we filmed it. We wrote it all down and we're giving it to you. You actually think she didn't know? Are you buying this? Are you buying this? I'm just saying, how do you cancel Stan Bowman, but then you don't cancel her? Different crimes, still offenses. And I brought up in my morning commentary today, which runs on SAS Radio and rodpeterson.com, Belichick, Don Matthews. It's quite interesting that John O makes the point about why do you have to cheat? You don't have to. I don't believe Wally Buono, who is the winningest coach of all time in the CFL, was guilty of any of these crimes, nor John Huffnagel, spying and cheating. I don't think they did. So the football gods will always prevail. The sports gods, the Olympic gods, the hockey gods. Don Matthews retired as the winningest coach in CFL history, but he ain't anymore. Wally Buono surpassed him. Bill Belichick has his 300 wins and his 6 Super Bowls, but he's not the winningest all-time coach. Don Shula is. Don Shula is the, said no one ever, but I will, the Wally Buono of the NFL. He did it the right way. Huff does it the right way. Matthews and Belichick both caught for cheating, spying on the opposition, and God knows a myriad of other things. Look at Tom Brady. 4-game suspension for Deflategate. They had a friggin' national inquiry into it. And he wouldn't admit it, and then he retires, and now he admits, yeah, I did it. Enough times, yeah, we know you did. Okay, Mike Wilner. Oh, Tim Hunter next? Is that the deal, Clark? Mike Wilner. Okay, we'll be right back live on Game Plus TV, Key Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Baseball now. Brandon Lowe hit a 2-run home run, and the Tampa Bay Rays won for the 4th time in 5 games by beating the Blue Jays 4-2 last night. Vladdy hit his 17th home run, but Toronto lost for the 5th time in 7 games. You all know Mike Wilner covers the Blue Jays for the Deep Left Field podcast for many, many years, the host of Jays Talk, and he joins us today. Hey, Mike, I'm dying to get your take on this. Ahead of the July 30th MLB trade deadline, I'm seeing all this conjecture, speculation over what the Blue Jays should do. Sell. Nobody's saying buy, but what they should sell and who. What do you think? Can you throw your opinion onto the pile what this team should do here, being the most disappointed team, so says USA Today, in the majors this season?
Yeah, I mean, they have to sell. There's no question about it. I wrote a column on the weekend in the Toronto Star looking back at the first decade of this century when the Blue Jays were always good but never good enough. And the major flaw of the J.P. Ricciardi front office was that they never sold at any deadlines. He made one trade deadline deal in 8 seasons as a general manager, and that was a bunch of missed opportunities to restock, to help out the future, and you can't let this opportunity go by. The Blue Jays are 10 games under 500. They need an absolute miracle to make the postseason, and the only rational course of action is to send away the players who are on expiring contracts who might have value to other teams. There are those who believe that 2025 is that's not your year either, given what's happened this year. I don't think I would sell the farm and trade Chris Bassett and Kevin Gausman and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., that's what the Blue Jays would get the another team's finest meats and cheeses for. But you say Kikuchi, Jimmy Garcia, Justin Turner, Trevor Richards, Danny Jansen, though that's a mess because the Blue Jays should have him under contract for another 2 or 3 years. But those are the guys who I would be moving on from and trying to help restock the farm with.
Take me inside this if you don't mind, Mike, because I'm a headline reader when it comes to the Blue Jays and MLB. And I'm calling baseball out here in the Western Canadian Baseball League this summer. I'm loving it. I'm seeing Vladdy, if I'm right, said he would be open to a trade if it happened. I think he said, the Yankees would be where he would like to go to, if I saw that right. But I also heard him say he'd like to stay with the Blue Jays and not move. So what do you think his future is?
Yeah, you didn't see that right. Vlad had been very vocal in the past about never wanting to play the Yankees. For the Yankees. I think he said this spring that he would rather be dead than play for the Yankees. And it goes back to a contract dispute that his father had with the Yankees a couple of decades ago. But he spoke to a reporter, a Spanish reporter, a couple of weeks ago, where he backed off that, where he said, look, if they trade me, they trade me. And if it's the Yankees, it's not the end of the world, that he would play for them as opposed to, it'll over my dead body. But he knows where his bread is buttered, right? He understands that if they trade him, he doesn't have a choice. He can sit out or he can go report. But he hasn't said that he is open to being traded. He hasn't said he wants to be anywhere but here in Toronto, but he's realistic, just like anybody else is. If it were up to me, and it's not, I would do my best to lock him up, because this is someone who as up and down as his career has been, he is a 25-year-old four-time All-Star who is the best hitter on this team. And when he's on, among the best hitters in the league, if not the best. So I want to make Vladimir Guerrero my franchise cornerstone as opposed to shopping him now or shopping him next summer.
I love the analysis. And by the way, let's get away from talking balls and strikes. I was out at the WCBL All-Star game. Matt Stairs was there, and I love the chat I had with him. Mike, baseball guys are great guys. That's what I've learned. Who's your favorite over the year? All the years you've been covering the Blue Jays. In your media role, not as a fan, as a kid, because I knew you grew up there. In your media role, who's your favorite guy?
Well, you're right. Baseball guys are terrific, especially the Canadian ones. I mean, Matt Stairs is an absolute blast, and I'm sure he's just gotten better with age. Picking one is like next to impossible. I've been covering this team for 36 years.
You don't have to pick one. Whoever comes to mind.
The first one who comes to mind is John McDonald. The great defensive shortstop, the prime minister of defense back in the mid 2000s. But just because John McDonald did something that no player has ever done before or since, and that I would never have expected any other player to do, and it was a midweek day game. It was a 12:30 start, and back then on the radio, I would have a pregame show for midweek day games. It wasn't our typical network pregame. It was just my thing for half an hour from 12 to 12:30. So I would have a guest for the first segment, then a break, and then a guest for the second segment. And I had lined up an interview with John McDonald before the game. And he said, yeah, I just have to go take some ground balls, and then I'll come right back. And this was like 10 to 11. He went out to take some grounders before the game. He wasn't playing. He wasn't in the lineup that day. And it got to be like 11:30, and he's still taking ground balls. And, I'm on the air at noon, and it's 11:40, and he's still taking ground balls. And I'm thinking, all right, well, what kind of time do I have to do this interview, then give it to the producer, turn it around, all that stuff, and get it on the air? And it's 11:45, and he's still taking ground balls, and I'm sitting in the dugout waiting. And I'm like, I can't do this now. I'll be, we got to get the show on, right? Because as you know, it doesn't matter whether you're ready to go on the air or not. It matters whether it's 12 o'clock or not. And that's when you start. So I was scrambling. I went upstairs. I started the show. I had my first segment done. And then when I took the break, I thought, okay, I'll go back into the press box and I'll just grab somebody. I'll find a guest. And I go back into the press box, and I'm looking around, and I ask, I think it was Dave Perkins of the Toronto Star, the legendary sports writer. And he said, sure, yeah, I'll talk to you for 5 minutes. And we're walking back into the broadcast booth. And as we're walking to the broadcast booth, I see John McDonald in full uniform, 10 minutes before first pitch, walking into the broadcast booth. And he was there, and he said, sorry, we ran long. I knew you wanted to talk. Is it okay if we do it now here live in the booth? No one's ever done anything like that. I would never expect or think or dream that anyone would do anything like that. But that was just another piece of who John McDonald is, and what a phenomenal, thoughtful, caring human being he is. Like it's a wild story. And I don't know that people listening understand the level of just how out of the box that is. But there you go. That's the story.
He didn't want to let you down. But just down from the ballpark here at Ross Wells Park is a 7-Eleven. And on National Slurpee Day earlier this month, I was in there to get a Slurpee. There was 4 players. I'm like, the game's in less than an hour, guys. They're getting Slurpees. It's just different.
Dude, a free Slurpee's a free Slurpee.
Exactly.
Bingo.
Listen, Mike, we're out of time, but enjoy the rest of it. Thanks for fitting us in as you always do, and enjoy the rest of the season. I hope we can do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about in a week. That's going to be a very different looking team.
Exactly. I hope so. Mike Wilner. Thank you, Mike. Mike from the Deep Left Field podcast. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover. Tim Hunter, the Flames great in hour 2, Atlanta and Calgary. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Professional basketball is back in Saskatchewan. The Saskatchewan Rattlers are heating up. Catch them live at SaskTel Center in Saskatoon from May through August. The team is packed with high-caliber talent from the NBA, NCAA, and professional leagues around the world, with a head coach straight from the LA Clippers. Secure your seats now on Ticketmaster, starting at just $20. See you in the state tip.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Hey, we're doing this just fine. RP, producer Clark, director Jordan, and whomever else. It's been fantastic. I'm just surfing through the comments, but I would like to carry this over to next hour because it's just going to be me. Tim Hunter's coming in, though, to talk about the hockey news. Just hang on. Great stuff here. Taylor in Calgary writes that he says, I missed yesterday's show but wanted to share my favorite Saddledome memory. Mine was 2004, round 3 versus the Shark. The dome so electric that night. I'll never forget it. It's a great barn. And everything outlives itself, I guess. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and he says, Spygate Soccer Edition. We're going to get to that. Wendell Weeb. Do me a favor for the rest of the show. If you're writing in on YouTube and you're watching, just write at the back end of your comment where you are. Where you are. That's it. Because I can't remember when I'm doing this on my own to stop and think where you all are. I just curious where you are. Wendell says some people, regarding Stan Bowman being hired by the Oilers today, he says some people want to hate on others who made a mistake for life. It makes them feel high and mighty. Bowman did his time. Let's see how he lives out his life from here on in. Glenn in Medicine Hat is wondering how the situation with Patrick Laine and Columbus might be impacting the Blue Jackets negotiations with restricted free agent Cole Sillinger. I'm sure they're fine. See, they signed his brother, Owen. I thought that was interesting. Not his brother that plays in Edmonton. Owen Sillinger. Bomber Boy writes in from Calgary, says, doesn't hosting Olympic Games incur huge financial losses? Only if you don't know what you're doing. Ask Greece and Montreal. Here is your sports update. Canadian women's soccer coach Bev Priestman withdrew from Thursday's Olympic opener against New Zealand, and 2 staff members have been sent home following alleged spying involving drones. The COC says assistant coach Jasmine Mander and analyst Joseph Lombardi were ousted from the team. The shakeup follows a review of drone incidents over New Zealand's practice sessions on Monday and last Friday. Chris in Heidelberg, Ontario writes in and says, being a former video guy in the OUA, football and hockey, I can assure you I didn't do anything unless asked by the coaches in the decision-making hierarchy. Video staff are basically lowest on that chain of command. Oh, we knew nothing about it. Let's throw these 2 under the bus, and I'll just step back for 2 games. If she's not canceled, I give up. Regarding the Jays, Darcy in Grand Prairie writes in, he says, sign Bo, Vlad, and Juan Soto long-term. Spend $1 billion, Rogers. That's all it is spend. It helps anyways. Where was I? Competition begins today in men's soccer and rugby sevens in Paris, 2 days before the Olympic Games officially start with the opening ceremony. Canada will name its flag bearers this afternoon. Hey, we're brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. Defeat boring Sundays. Every Sunday, kids can get out of the house and score a movie ticket and snack pack for one great low price. Every movie, every Sunday. Landmark Cinemas Kids Day. Turn the average Sunday into a movie-filled fun day. Check your favorite Landmark Cinemas for showtimes. Some terms and conditions apply. Children must be 13 and under. Valid for new movie releases only. Also brought to you by the Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, your hub for sports, fitness, and community fun. We'll continue all this. I want more of your comments. More. And Tim Hunter will be with us too. Live on Game Plus and Key Radio. Be right back.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
He lives in the Calgary area. He's like, Roddy, get your pads on. Mercer's back's bad. I'm like, okay. But I always had it in the back of the trunk of my car. And Nabokov lined up 10 pucks. He goes, you, me, 10 shots, 10 goals. How many do you think he scored on me? The Siberian Sniper, first round pick of the Chicago Blackhawks. How many do you think he scored?
8.
5. Come on.
Whoa. This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it certainly is. Thank you, Rick Regan. Welcome to the RP Show. We are into hour 2 of a very spicy, hot day on the RP Show. It's Canada's daytime sports talk show. We let our American friends in, but we're talking Canadian topics, and it's going well, and it's been a volatile day in Canadian sports. Woo-hoo-hoo. And you know what? It's just, I think it's heating up. It's not cooling down. I'm going to re-up where we were. We'll refresh here in the hour 2 to kick things. No Moose, and he's on his way to Calgary working the CKPG Women's Open? The Canadian Women's Open. How about that? Moose is there with golf. Yeah, with Golf Canada. Later on this hour, though, Tim Hunter will be with us. Calgary Flames, great. I asked the audience to write in where you're from, where you're watching today. Just, I don't ask you to do it that often, but would you mind doing it today? Dave writes in, he says, Niagara Falls, great show today. Argos. Trust me, we're going to get our CFL talk on this hour. We will. Wendell Weeb says, I'm from Martinsville, Sask, loud and proud. You know what I think would be best is I'll rip through the quick 6 show topics and then go back into the comments, and I'll continue to reiterate how I feel about all of them, because it is the Rod Pedersen Show. Can you hit the show horn, Jordan, just to dress this up a little bit? There we go. Yeah, the Edmonton Oilers have hired Stan Bowman as the team's general manager and vice president of hockey operations. The 51-year-old becomes the 11th GM in franchise history after spending 20 seasons with the Chicago Blackhawks, including 12 as GM. He replaces Ken Holland. I don't understand why this is the big fear, or the rumor was out there that this was going to happen from the insiders. The Oilers broke the news themselves today. And, of course, Bowman stepped aside in Chicago in October of 2021 after the investigation into how they handled the sexual assault allegation in 2010 involving the team's video coach, Kyle Beat. He was reinstated by the commissioner on July 1st, eligible to work again. He served a 3-year suspension. I will say this. There are people who now will remain nameless that are just, they won't take what my thoughts are on this. They just want to stand back and fight. Here's the deal, folks. If we don't agree, I walk away real fast because you're not changing my mind and I'm not changing your mind. And all it's going to go from there is ugliness. And I'm not here for that. Again, lost his job, served his sentence, and I believe he should be eligible to work in the NHL again. It happens to be one of the most high-profile jobs in the NHL, GM of the Edmonton Oilers. I don't think he'll have any authority there. I don't. He's speaking right now in Edmonton, from what I understand. From what I hear, Jeff Jackson runs the team, but 2, 3, 4 heads are better than one, especially a guy that's won 3 Stanley Cups. What I'm actually even more interested in is this. Canadian women's soccer coach Bev Priestman removed herself from Thursday's Olympic Games opener against New Zealand, and 2 team staff members were sent home after 2 drone incidents. They were caught spying on Team New Zealand twice. We got some really good comments come in from our viewers on that. Point 3, Salt Lake City's been awarded the 2034 Winter Games. They're the only ones that bid. Point 4, Brandon Lowe hit a 2-run homer, and the Rays won for the 4th time in 5 games, beating the Blue Jays 4-2 last night. Vladdy hit his 17th. And Mike Wilner had some really interesting comments last hour. If you watch this show, you know, I'm a huge fan of Mike Wilner. And I'm a huge fan of the Blue Jays. I mean, I don't watch every game, but that's my team. And I said, what would you do, Mike? And he goes, I wrote it down. I'd do my very best to lock him up and make him a franchise cornerstone. Vladdy. That's how much he thinks of Vladdy Guerrero. Okay, if Mike feels that way, good enough for me. The Montreal Alouettes have placed starting quarterback Cody Fajardo on the 6-game injured list ahead of their meeting with the Saskatchewan Roughriders on Thursday night. And obviously that sucks for my guy Cody. But that's not an automatic win for Saskatchewan in my mind, only because Montreal has, I don't know if it's statistically the best defense or not, but the football guys will tell you that is the best defense in Montreal. So it's backup versus backup again. That's not good for the CFL from an exposure marketing purposes. It's Shea Patterson versus Caleb Evans. Can you imagine Cody Fajardo versus Trevor Harris? But it happens. We're all going to be watching anyways. And then point 6, an 18-game NFL season seems inevitable. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has already stated he favors expanding the regular season by another game. The NFL usually gets what the NFL wants. So it looks like they're going that way. But that doesn't say when. But are we surprised? I think you would all agree. I hope you do. I don't know. Sometimes the older I get, I think maybe you don't all agree with what I'm saying. But let's put it this way. What will make the most money? We're doing that. That's pretty much how it goes in the NFL and most leagues. Trumps player safety, trumps what might be right in the realm of do what's right. What makes the most money? End of story. Okay, so to the fun stuff. Not that that isn't all fun, but again, if you're writing in and you're watching on streaming, can you please, or even the text line, 902-518-3033, tell me where you're watching from. Although the text line very handily tells me where the text's coming from, YouTube does not. I just have a problem with Bev Priestman, the coach of the women's soccer team, being caught for cheating, and nobody seems to care, and it seems like she's going to get off a free pass with it. Yet people still won't let Belichick off the hook. People still won't let Don Matthews off the hook. And anybody that got cheating in sports, how come she's getting a pass? I'll just step back for 2 games, and then we're good, okay? Okay. Even the Olympic Committee. How is this okay? Randy from Winnipeg. What makes you think flying a drone in another country just before the Olympics is a smart thing to do? Other team. Hey, look, there's a drone spying on us. Like, look, I went out to Buffalo Pound a couple weeks ago. It's a lake out here with my guy, Joe, our sales manager. He was doing some marketing work out there with a guy that flies a drone. So I just wandered off on my own. What I do. Looking at flowers, taking pictures of the lake and boats and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, zzz, drones, they're not even stealth. So I get walking through the campground, and there's a couple out having a coffee. It's a Saturday morning. And they said, hey, are you out here flying a drone this weekend today? No, my friends are. I'm just hiking. But they thought they'd get away with it. They should be suspended for being stupid. Scott in Vancouver says, if you shoot a drone with a 12 gauge, I wonder what happens. Go try it, Scott, and tell us what happens. John Ohm says the Toronto Blue Jays are just that. Boo. Yeah, I cheer for the Blue Jays. I watch them when they're winning. I always cheer for them. But they're not winning. They suck. So now what? Colin in Ottawa writes in, he says, for those that aren't willing to give Stan Bowman and Quenneville another chance, better keep that same energy when it comes to those locked up in penitentiaries in our country. No parole for anybody. Well, and I'll say it again. With her stepping back for the 2 games, again, if I was accused of something, which incidentally I have been, and I knew I didn't do it, which I didn't, I wouldn't be taking any punishment, period, voluntary or involuntary. No, I had nothing to do with this. That would be me. I'll just step back for 2 games, and then we're good? Good. Maybe Belichick should have said that. Listen, I didn't do it, but I'll just step back for like 3 games. Then we'll be good. We'll be good. There was a grand jury trial on whether they deflated footballs. Do you remember that? We're all going, is there not something more important going on in America that you got to bring in the grand jury to have a trial over the footballs? How inflated they really? But that's also America and how they feel about football. Randy from Winnipeg says 18 games, 2 bye weeks was always the plan when they went to 17 games. Well, maybe it was. I don't know. Sounds like they're going to 18 games, and that shouldn't surprise anybody. Well, this is interesting. Thank you, Bo. Bo writes in and says, still here in good old Saskatoon. Thanks, Bo. Yeah, I guess that's what makes this show entertaining, and that's why people tune in, is because you do get stuff you don't get anywhere else. BW in Edmonton writes in, and he says, listening to the Oilers news conference, I'm not sure who's the head dog. It will all sort itself out over the next few weeks. But will it? I mean, they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, Game 7, so I'm not prepared to say that the Edmonton Oilers are dysfunctional, because I don't necessarily think that they are. But I think because of that confusion over who's in charge is why they're not going to get back to the Stanley Cup final anytime soon. Thank you, Ryan, in upstate New York. He says 1:11 Eastern. John Ohm saying the same. 1:11, 11:11. It signifies whatever you want it to signify. Look it up. Look it up. It's different for everybody. It could signal change. It could signal slow down. It could signal stay calm. Look it up. See what comes up for you. So all these topics, I'm loving it. And viewership's going up right in with whatever you want. What we're talking about is Stan Bowman being the GM of the Oilers. It's got a lot of people ticked off. They think he should be canceled forever. What I would say to those people is, you better hope to Jesus that you don't make a mistake. That's what you'd better hope. And then have to be asking people for mercy on you because you made a mistake or didn't handle a situation perfectly. That's what it comes down to. John Glowa, producer to the Stars, my former producer, John Glowa. He says, if the Canadian women's soccer team is done with the spying drone, maybe they can lend it to the Blue Jays? What do you got for that, Clark? Anything? Yeah, that'll work. Carlos in Indianapolis says, to me, the whole 111 thing is just an RP show feature. Sure. Can I throw a couple more topics on the table before we go? Tomorrow, we're going to go far more deeply into Week 8 in the Canadian Football League, making our picks, getting in more into that Montreal-Sask game, which, by the way, there's a watch party Thursday night, and I'll divulge the details for that. Follow our social media channels. We'll be posting it there. Watch party in the Queen City for the Riders and Alouette. I want to know this from the Americans watching, specifically Ryan in New York State, Carlos in Indy. Who are your teams that you think will make the biggest step forward in the NFL? Name one. And the team that you think will take the biggest step back. Name one. And Canadians, too, that follow the NFL, by the way. I'm wondering now what's the most popular football league in Canada. Is it the Canadian Football League or is it the National Football League? And before you rush to your keyboard, put some thought into it, please, because I have. What's the most popular football league in Canada? The Canadian Football League or the National Football League? They're even to me. They're even. So I'm not sure that I have an opinion, and even if I did, I'm not sure it would be the right opinion. I just found it quite interesting today. We're going on a really long hike, run, walk today, listening to Dan Patrick and his crew on whatever channel they're on. They kind of do what we're doing here, right? An independent thing. Saying, they thought the Houston Texans weren't going to be all that. Down there in that AFC South division. And some feeling the Indy Colts with a healthy Anthony Richardson will make a huge step forward in that same AFC South division. Sports talk, in a lot of ways, is stealing money. The secret sauce is finding the right topic that everybody wants. Paul in Humboldt says, if only laws and rules could prevent stupidity. Sigh. Well, that's the thing. She's going to walk away scot-free for being caught filming the opposition's practice at the Olympics. And she's going to walk free. She should be penalized for being too stupid to not do it better, is what the penalty should be there. And that's, listen, you want to know why I love Florida so much? And I said last hour, my phone's blowing up from Johnny O, Chris from the Bronx, Brent from Wellington, Florida. I said to Serena, it's very clear to me where my home is, because that's who I'm hearing from, my Florida guys. Where the speed limit is only a guideline, where you are encouraged to stay 50 feet away from an alligator, but nobody does. Don't go near the water. You don't got to wear a helmet on a motorcycle either. I like that. It's, what do you call it? This hockey camp is really ramping up next to me. The slap shots are making me lose my train of thought. Natural selection. If you're too stupid, you're going to pay the price. In Canada, they put these laws in to protect people from themselves. Down there, they don't have laws. Aaron Noj writes in from Yorkton and says, hey, Rod, hope all is well. You're damn right it's well. We've got our own show here on national television, Game Plus, and on the radio in Atlanta. What could be better? Randy in Winnipeg says, for me, it's the NFL. I love playing fantasy football and betting on Sunday games while watching the best in the sport. I still love the CFL, too. Right. So I'm glad Randy watches this show every day because I think he gets me. So many people don't. I'm not saying what league do you love more. That's not the question. What is the more popular football league in Canada? There should be a metric, I would think, to measure that. Who has the highest television ratings? who sells the most merchandise. We used to be able to track that. Who has the most social media impressions? And if that was the case, I think the NFL would win it in a landslide. But I still love the CFL. There is a difference. And regarding the Stan Bowman thing, BW in Edmonton says if you're going to throw rocks, your porch better be clean. Otherwise, keep your mouth shut. Quote from an old grade school teacher of mine. Approved. Carlos in Indianapolis says, I could see the Colts making a big step forward if Anthony Richardson stays healthy. I don't think it would be a deep playoff run, but the team, I think, will be much improved. So those are all the topics. We're going to take a timeout and be right back. Tim Hunter coming up. Flames great. Turn up your radios, Atlanta. Because we're on Key Radio and, of course, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Oh, go. We got Tim Hunter. Okay, we got breaking news. I just got to pass it. The Battlefords North Stars of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League are pleased to announce Gary Childerhose has been promoted to become the new head coach and GM of the North Stars. Chili, a 34-year-old native of Battleford, joined the Stars coaching staff prior to the 21-22 season. After his first season, he earned the designation of associate coach beside Braden Klamosko. He's headed to take over the Humboldt Broncos, and that's Braden's dream job, he told me, where he helped lead the Stars to an SJHL championship and national silver medal. Way to go, Chili. Way to go, Stars. Okay, let's get out to Calgary. Our good guy, Tim Hunter, joins us. Flames great, we all know that. Hey, Coach, welcome back to the program. Little big news up Highway 2 today in Edmonton, huh? With Stan Bowman. What do you think?
Well, he's a very capable guy for sure. With the Stanley Cups in Chicago, the team he put together there, built, obviously with a lot of help from Scotty, his dad, and a number of other people. But it's a special thing to put a winning team together, a Stanley Cup team together, and there's not many guys are able to do it, and he's obviously done it a couple times.
I'll ask any of the viewers, by the way, 902-518-3033, questions, anything NHL related for Tim Hunter, or on the streams as well. My thing on this, Tim, is he's served his 3-year suspension, basically lost his job, so I don't think he should be canceled forever. I don't think he's in charge. From what I hear, Jeff Jackson's making all the calls, but there's something to be said for 2, 3, 4 heads are better than one. I've been saying it all show. I think this is a good move for that. He's a good hockey man, and you know what I mean? Not one guy can make all the important calls with an NHL franchise, I don't think.
Well, nobody does, and smart people surround themselves around other smart people and let them do their jobs. And I think the ownership up there has finally realized it's not fantasy NHL, and you have to hire good people to get the job done and not try to do it yourself. And obviously it started with Ken Holland, now Jeff Jackson in there, and Jeff doesn't have much managerial experience, and he's a smart hockey guy. Obviously, played the game. He's a lawyer. He's been an agent. He's been around the game. But the ins and outs of deals with other general managers is a real key point in putting a team together and doing the right things and enticing or dragging another general manager into your ideals and ideas of making a trade. And then talking players into coming to play in Edmonton. Not a lot of players want to play in Canada, the taxes and all this, the weather and the lifestyle is not the same as some of the places in the United States. But winning culture and the chance to win are what's very attractive to Edmonton. They're knocking on the door. They gained a ton of experience this year with going to the final against Florida. One goal away from tying it and going to overtime, but experience and a great team prevailed in the end. So I think Edmonton's not far away, but smart hockey minds will try to get the job done, and like everything else, to get the job done, everything has to go right for sure.
I'll tell you what, just a fun thing. I respect the hell out of the Oilers Flames rivalry. I just love it. And I wish we had it in Florida. I don't think we ever will. But can you tell the folks how you're surprised when you go to Edmonton, how nice you're treated by Oilers fans? Do you think, Tim, they're just scared of you? Or do you actually think they're over it, the 80s?
Well, I don't think they're over it. I just think when you look back and we get together with certain events with the Oilers alumni guys. I was actually with some of the Oilers alumni guys yesterday in Canmore for the Hockey Alberta Foundation golf tournament. We laughed, it's great. But the number one thing, it's respect. They respected what we were trying to do, and we certainly respected them because they had a great team. They had great experience with Glenn Sather and all their coaching staff putting that team together. And we knew to get anywhere, we had to go through Edmonton, and we had to scratch and claw to become better to be able to beat Edmonton, or at least beat the teams that Edmonton was beating. And it all worked out. But I go to Edmonton. It's funny, I was always kind of like, ugh. These people, they despised me, hated me. And I go up there now and do events. The people that love it, they're all ears. They all come up and they go, it's just like the day when I went from Calgary, Quebec, Vancouver. I went and met the Griffiths family and Emily and Arthur, and she looked at me, and I thought she was going to tear a strip off me, and she was pointing this finger like, Tim Hunter, I used to hate your guts, and now I love you. And so it's the same thing with the other fans, just respect, and that's what both organizations have for each other, and the players, past and present, do as well.
We were leaving Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay after Game 4 in this year's playoffs, and just as a Panthers media contingent, and the Lightning fans were, we hope you win the Stanley Cup. Hope you go all the way. I'm like, what? You're supposed to be the rival. This would never happen in Alberta and Vancouver, as you say. Hey, I'm following what's going on with Scotia Place there in Calgary, Tim. To use a horse term, it seems like unbridled enthusiasm with a new arena. How's the announcement gone this week?
It was great, really exciting, and I was in Canmore on Monday when they did it, but we had some guys there, and they got to see the rendition of the building and the inside, and it's really amazing. It's going to be real intimate because it's going to be steep, 18,400 seats, and lots of space for the fans and for everything underneath that goes on underneath. The players, parking, suite holders. In Calgary, the Saddledome, I go up the elevator to the Platinum Lounge, and I'm riding the elevator with the assistant coach, the guy that's carrying a case of vodka, and the guy's got a platter of nachos going to some suite. Like, that's just archaic. And this new building is going to have everything. I know the company that's helping design and build and all this, they've gone through a number of builds, and they've ironed out a lot of the mistakes they've made in the past, looking back and looking what's worked, what's not. And there are going to be a lot of new kind of wrinkles in the Scotia Place in Calgary. And that'll be cool because it'll be the most modern building in hockey. And they won't have all those small mistakes or big mistakes, whatever they are, that they created in those other buildings, trying to make a bigger and better arena experience for the fans.
I don't know you that well. I know you pretty well, better than most, but you don't strike me as a real sentimental guy. Will you shed a tear when they knock the wrecking ball into the Saddledome? Will you miss it?
No, not really. I've been in so many of the new buildings. They're so nice. The dressing rooms, the features for the fans. I go to playoff games in Calgary, and, it's jam-packed, and everyone's much more enthusiastic. And they're drinking more beer, and the lines for the bathrooms are just awful. They have porta potties out on the landings for the exits, and I'm not going to miss any of that. And the dressing room was small. We were down in the dressing room this year, actually. They've done a great job over the last few years redesigning and giving the players more space down there when we did our 35th anniversary celebration. So they do have a nice modern room, but it's not 3 stories high like the Oilers dressing room, and doesn't have a fireplace, and doesn't have a big lounge where you can get lost in. So, modern is better. Yeah, sure, I missed going in the old Boston Garden because it was small, and I wasn't a great skater, so I could forecheck a lot easier than I can. And then in the new Incomplete Center, what they called it, the Fleet Center, and now it's whatever it's called now. But no, I think for the game, for the fans, for the whole experience, modern buildings are so much better.
I'm with you. It's like Taylor Field. We hated it, wanted it to be a parking lot when we were there. The fans loved it, but we couldn't wait to get into the new place. By the way, I met a guy in South Florida, Nick Vittio's best friend. And I said, hey, I got a buddy up in Calgary. I got a buddy up in Calgary who says the hardest he ever got punched was by Nick Vittio. So we had a great chat about that. Yeah, I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to bring up any bad memories. But I'll say this.
Oh, no.
You're out talking.
I'm glad
you're talking all the.
I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all the Flames fans. You're talking to the fans. You're out and about. I'm wondering what the vibe is, because it's been pretty down the last couple of years. But I would, if it's a rebuild, like the Patriots are going through a rebuild, and they're not afraid to say it. With the Flames, you got a good young goalie there, and Dustin Wolf, and talent coming up, and a coaching staff that's tremendous. Please tell me there's a positive vibe there around the club this summer.
You know, there sure is. It's really, I think, the draft, getting such a quality player at number 9 in Zane Parekh, and then adding some real good players in the next 2 or 3 picks, and then Calgary kids, people that want to play here. I talked to Willie Desjardins yesterday about Basha. He lives about 2 blocks from me, and he said, you know, Tim, that kid's a hell of a player. He had an injury last year. He got his foot stepped on, and not cut bad, but he lost some nerve damage and things. So he didn't play, whatever it was. I can't remember exactly what Willie was saying. He didn't play to his potential. And he says, we're really looking forward to him playing to his potential. So he's going to get so much better than he was. And this is a great pick. You know, when you get picks, good picks in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, that can play, you know, not many players, if you look at the history and the data of players actually playing the NHL, not many guys make it after the 2nd round. So that's exciting. Yeah. I talked to Jerome McGinley on Saturday at the Alberta Hockey Hall of Fame induction, and was, you know, just congratulating him on Tej being drafted. And he talked about how excited he was to be part of the Flames and see all the young picks and be at the draft and see the excitement. And then, you know, over the last 2 days, being in Canmore with Hockey Alberta people and lots of fans and lots of VIP people that are hockey fans, they are really excited about the direction. They're finally going to do it the right way. And if they continue to have that patience, you know, and by the time the team gets to the new building, they'll be really on the upsurge, and it'll be really exciting hockey. And I know all our alumni guys are really excited about it too, because we're looking forward to getting in the new building, and it's just fun for us to go to the games and be around the fans, and it's going to be a great experience.
It's funny because I see all these teams are just now, some football teams, some hockey teams, just now establishing viable alumni associations. And I'm like, the Flames have been doing it for years and doing it better than anybody else. And hey, we only got a couple of minutes, but a guy sent me the text the other day. He goes, hey, it says on this day in 1996, the San Jose Sharks signed Tim Hunter, which was your last season. What do you think they're going to be like? Like, Celebrini is going to play there this year, right? What's the outlook for San Jose, do you think?
Well, they're a step ahead of Calgary. They've already done all the tear down and got rid of all the contracts, and they're bare bones team. But they got the prize of the draft in Celebrini, and they have a franchise player. So moving forward, they build around him. And Mike Greer, I coached Mike. Been around Mike Greer. He's very smart, patience. And, you know, they've struggled to get fans. He's brought back in a bunch of his alumni. Joe Thornton's on board. He's pounding the drum, how exciting it is to be a Shark and come and watch these young guys play. And that speaks volumes. And so they're going to build that from the ground up. And, you know, like everyone talks about different models of rebuilds. And, you know, Chicago was one of those models that, you know, they got a bunch of young players, surrounded them with veterans, taught them how to win, then brought more veterans in that knew how to win, and transitioned, and the team grew. And that's how you do it. Letting these players experience and learn under good coaching, and letting them live it is the best way for them to develop. And yeah, the Sharks are going to be an exciting team. I'm looking forward to watching them as well. And, and as Calgary goes along, they'll start integrating these guys in, because they are not afraid to integrate new players in the lineup, and that's exciting.
Good stuff. Fun to watch. Tim, thanks for the time as always. Thanks for jumping on, and enjoy the rest of summer.
You bet. You too, Rod. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
NHL great Tim Hunter from Cowtown. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. It's just me this week. Moose is away at the CP Women's Open in Calgary. We are live on Game Plus TV, Key Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
These are the days you really love talking sports, when there's a lot of breaking news, a lot of topics to bring up. For a summer day, I'm pretty happy with the amount of topics that are in the air. Speaking of, metaphorically speaking, Bev Priestman, the head coach of Canada women's soccer team, is going to voluntarily skip the first 2 games of the Olympics because her staff was caught illegally videotaping New Zealand's practice. Those staffers sent home. El Sasco writes in, that's Vintage Sasco, writes in, he says, thumbs down to getting caught cheating at the Olympics. Signed, the real 1988 Olympic gold medalist, Ben Johnson. Approved.
Approved.
Make it stop. I just got so many friends. There's just, how many instances has there been of cheating at the Olympics? My God, every year. And now it's us. And nobody cares she's going to get a pass. I don't get it. Can somebody please explain this? Many topics on the table here. I asked you, what's the team that you think will take the biggest step forward in the NFL this year and will take the biggest step back? Ryan in upstate New York says the NFL team that could take the biggest step back in 2024 is the Minnesota Vikings. They need a running game to support whoever is at quarterback, and their defense is suspect. I hope you're wrong. Couple things going on there. Jordan Love missing workouts in training camp as he awaits a new contract. I'm talking about a divisional competitor. That's not good for the Packers. Running backs are a dime a dozen. They should be able to find somebody to block and run the football. We were hoping Sam Darnold learned things in prior NFL stops, and I'm a big fan of J.J. McCarthy. So I hope you're wrong. I definitely think it's the Detroit Lions division to win, however. Randy in Winnipeg says the Chargers will go from 5-12 to 9-8, but not enough to make the playoff. But improvement with Harbaugh in charge, I hope. LOL. Tony in Cochrane, Alberta, says the Browns should be back in the conversation this year with a healthy Chubb, Watson, and Garrett. Better than the Cowboys, Rod. LMAO. You just worry about your healthy Chubb. Hey, Clark.
How about that?
CD Lamb. Yeah. CD Lamb missing workouts now in Dallas. I did hear an interesting comment this morning on Dan Patrick. I hope you love the sports talk as much as I do. I hope it make you feel good. Like our listening to it makes me feel good. He said, the one thing that there's not as many holdouts as there used to be because the players are realizing they very rarely ever win. There are still a few, but not as many as there used to be. With regards to, I say this respectfully, I do, with regards to Tim Hunter saying the war is over with Edmonton now as far as he's concerned. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in, he says, Tim, so you and Dave Semenko are buds now? I doubt it. Unfortunately, Semenko is no longer with. Lost a cancer battle a few years ago. Scott in Vancouver says, Tim was one tough customer. I wonder what he thinks of the NHL being in Seattle. He played a few years with the old Breakers. Well, not only that, but his wife's from Seattle. One of the greatest things in my life was the time spent in Calgary the past couple of years and just selfishly getting to hang around those guys. Tim Hunter, Jamie McCowan, Joel Otto, Lanny McDonald. Because who the hell am I? I'm just a barker. Colin Patterson. I didn't forget you, Colin. He watches us every day on TELUS Channel 924 here on Game Plus. North Texas Mean Green writes in, and I'm going to suggest you go have a cold shower after this. I'm going to read your comment, but chill out. He says, to be blunt, the Stan Bowman Oilers hire is a repulsive/regressive step backwards for hockey, and I do wonder if enough public backlash, whether this turns into a Mike Babcock Columbus situation. Also, to compare this to the Canadian women's soccer scandal is ridiculous. No crime was committed. Idiocy from whoever okayed the drones, and jobs will be rightfully lost. However, it's apples and oranges. Says you. No rules were broken? You can't videotape another team's practice? What about moral? What about moral rules? I don't want to sit and argue and debate it all day, because we could. You have your opinion. I have mine. Let's shake hands and walk away. I don't want to fight. I don't mind getting into the Canadian Football League thing discussion, but holy mang, have we covered it all today? A lot of tap dancing, a lot of different sports. Talking with the Blue Jays, because when you're on the air, it's a blur for 2 hours. Not in a bad way, but you don't really stop and think about what's going down. I do after the fact. And for Mike Wilner of the Deep Left Field Jays podcast to say, hey, here's what I would do. Get rid of everybody on expiring contracts, but lock up Vladdy now and make him the cornerstone of the franchise. 4-time All-Star, one of the best hitters in the game. That's a guy you build around. because we are in an era, I'll say it again, you got to be able to trust your sources. You got to. And I'm just a headline reader. I see the headlines, but a lot of times the headlines are wrong. I'm like, what is the future of Vladdy? How do you feel about Vladdy? Because I sit there, I see him joking and smiling. He very clearly loves playing baseball. But does he love being a Blue Jay? Does he love being in Toronto? Sounds like he does. It's good enough for me, but I'm not around it every day. So I enjoyed that. And by the way, I'm not wrapping up the show here by any means. I'm just sitting here thinking about what we've talked about here today. You all have your opinions on Stan Bowman. It's totally fine. You can vent. It's cool, but it's not going to get you anywhere. Gary Bettman and the National Hockey League have reinstated the 3 gentlemen in Chicago who were punished for their role in the scandal with the Blackhawks. I'm sorry. It's the way society's set up. You have a pennant. You do the crime, you do the time. They've done their time. Time for them to come back. If you want to cancel them forever, that's your opinion, but you're not winning. And Gary Bettman reinstated them as of July 1st, so he agreed. Sorry they don't see it your way. We'll be right back with Overtime with a sports update and more of your comments. And again, Week 8 in the Canadian Football League, because I know a lot of you have been waiting for that all day. Bring it out now. We're live on Game Plus TV, Key Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
Wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Professional basketball is back in Saskatchewan. The Saskatchewan Rattlers are heating up. Catch them live at SaskTel Center in Saskatoon from May through August. The team is packed with high-caliber talent from the NBA, NCAA, and professional leagues around the world, with a head coach straight from the LA Clippers. Secure your seats now on Ticketmaster, starting at just $20. See you in the Snake Pit.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Lots of time here for overtime. And every time these kids are firing pucks on this makeshift shooting lane over here, I think about our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where they do it for real every day professionally. And by the way, watch for their tent out and about at Calgary events this summer. I saw Randy from Overtime Hockey Lanes cavorting with Flames goalie Dustin Wolf recently, amongst a lot of other Calgary dignitaries. 28th Street Northeast in Cowtown, Overtime Hockey Lanes has it all. I like my phrase for them. It's Disneyland for hockey players. But they say it's where skill and fun collide. Looking to kill some time this summer? Check them out, 28th Street Northeast. To the crowd, you people. Do we not have that bell anymore, Clark? I never hear it anymore. Bing. It's gone. There we go. Okay. Mandy in Edmonton writes in. She says, I like you, Rod. You're quick as a whip. Quick as a whip. Hope you're still having fun in Sask. Why wouldn't I be? She says, is lacrosse still a thing? I haven't heard anything about it in forever. I get why you haven't. You lost your team in Edmonton, but they've moved to Saskatchewan. And from what I understand, yes, I know lacrosse is still a thing, but they're in their off season. Lacrosse is still a thing. Len in Swift Current, I don't understand. Don't write me in abbreviations when I'm on live television. I can't read your abbreviation. I'm seeing these reports. Clark, why are they saying that Brock Purdy's been traded to Miami? That's not a thing, is it? That's come up just since I've been on the air. Okay, you have. A couple of people have written in. I don't understand. What? I can't. They have their guy in Miami and Tua. I'm pretty sure Brock Purdy's San Fran. Why are people talking about Brock Purdy going to the Dolphins? I can't see it happening. People are bringing it up today. Jeremy writes in Winnipeg. He says, Stan Bowman shouldn't even be allowed to have a job. He lied about it, now feels sorry because they got caught for covering it up to win Cup. Disgusting hire. It's okay to grieve, whatever, air your grievances. Not grieve, but air your... But send him to the NHL offices in downtown New York. There ain't nothing we're going to do about it here. And by the way, I believe he's paid his time. You're not listening? Okay, thanks, Clark. There's nothing with Brock Purdy. People, move on. Stop with the fake news. It just won't. No. Shouldn't ever work again. No. That is definition of closed-mindedness right there. John Ohm. Thank goodness for the great commentators on the Blue Jays broadcast because they suck. At least they make it interesting as they lose almost every game. Signed, frustrated Jays fan. Oh, I know. I watch those Jays. It's something that a great broadcaster can do, and the Jays really got some great ones. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Jamie Campbell, and whoever they rotate around on the table. The Jays broadcasts are slick, and they always have been. Almost make you forget how bad the team is. Glenn in Medicine Hat says the self-righteous types among us don't seem too enamored with the Stan Bowman hire. We are going to officially stop listening to them because they're not going to affect my stance, and I sure the hell aren't going to affect theirs. From the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, the Battlefords North Stars are pleased to announce Gary Childerhose has been promoted to become the new head coach and GM of the Battlefords North Stars, replacing Braden Moscow. Meanwhile, five-time All-Pro Tyreek Hill was voted the NFL's #1 wide receiver by the Associated Press in a preseason survey. A panel of 8 AP Pro Football writers ranked the top 5 players at wide receiver, basing selections on current status entering the 24 season. Hill received 4 first-place votes, edging Justin Jefferson, who got the other 4 first-place votes but was left off 1 ballot. But after Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb finished 3rd, Jamar Chase 4th, and Amon-Ra St. Brown came in 5th. Sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. It's Seniors Day on Mondays at Landmark Cinemas. Get more of the movies you love every Monday for less. Seniors enjoy 20% off the posted seniors admission price, and to sweeten the deal, receive 20% off their concession purchase too. By the way, on the Bowman thing and the Chicago thing, there might be more to the story than we all know. There's all that too. But I'm not a Blackhawks reporter. I'm not an NHL national reporter, so I've had the phone calls, I've received the texts, but I'm like, no. Where's Rick Westhead on that one? Bomber Boy in Calgary says they're using a drone to spy on another team. Rookie move. Signed, Russia's used doping needle. Forget a cheat. Use steroids, for God's sakes. Not everybody. Isn't that on the first page of the handbook? Thanks, everybody. Believe it or not, we're going to do it all again tomorrow at noon Eastern right here.
Who has more fun than us?